starter Pokemon. Especially in Gen 1, you only have 4, based out of the 3 games. You've got Bulbasaur, Charmander, Squirtle, and Pikachu. Really iconic Pokemon, great evolution lines, but I've got a different question I want to answer today. Can a team built of Kanto starters beat Pokemon Blue? We'll use this rule set here. Must not exceed level 50 at the final fight, no evolution, stay in the base form, and the other general rules. If you haven't already, smash that like and subscribe, you guys, you legends, and we'll get straight into the video. So, yeah, that's the question I want to ask with a few of these challenge videos, and this is the first challenge I want to try. Can we actually beat Pokemon Blue using a team of only start Pokemon? And in Gen 1, as I said, there's only 4 starter type Pokemon, Charmander, Bulbasaur, Squirtle, and Pikachu. Can a team of just these 4 Pokemon beat the Pokemon League and beat the game? And the reason why I want to answer this question, well, I just wanted a bit more of a challenge really than the standard monotype runs. And these Pokemon in their base forms, as we've seen on a lot of my solo runs, aren't the greatest. Like, Bulbasaur did not do well as a solo run. Haven't done a Pikachu solo run yet, but Charmander and Squirtle did decent. But they were at much higher levels than what that level 50 cap. That's what I think is going to make this interesting. We'll actually see if this is possible. And these Pokemon being so iconic as they are, I think you guys will enjoy that. So, here we go. So, of course, we take Charmander first. We can go and pick up our other Pokemon. Now, you might be wondering, how are you going to pick up Squirtle and Bulbasaur? Pikachu you can pick up in Viridian Forest if really needed, but this isn't Pokemon Yellow. Pokemon Blue, you cannot pick up starter Pokemon in the wild. You have to trade them from other games to be able to use them in the playthrough. Well, this is where Game Shark kind of comes into it, so we are going to be using Game Shark codes to change wild Pokemon into Bulbasaur, Squirtle, and Pikachu, meaning that just after we've left Pallet Town, we'll have a full team of 4. You might not like this idea, but I really wanted to start this game off with that full team, because then we can give them the greatest chance to level up and try and use battles sparingly so that they don't over-level by certain points. Now, here's one thing about using a Game Shark code that I found hilarious. So, when you're using a Game Shark code, it apparently means that Pokeballs have much less chance to actually work. As you've seen there, the Bulbasaur at level 3 has got a down, pretty much that it was going to jump straight out the ball straight away. We did manage to catch it here, but we've pretty much used all of our Pokeballs and nearly all of our money. Let's see how it goes on the Squirtle. So this one's level 2, because it's been replaced for the likes of Pidgey or Rattata. So once we've got it down to low health, you can see here it's still saying down the Pokemon broke free, which is usually what you see when you haven't thingied it down enough. So what do we need to do? Well, I did go back and try and get more Pokeballs just to see if I can do this, but with 5 Pokeballs left, we would run out of money before we can catch all 3 of our Pokemon. So, as you can see here, I haven't put the Game Shark code back on. We'll run from this fight, and you'll start to see, like, this is how the Game Shark code messes up the game. Right now, it looks like we're looking at a missing goal. But we can catch the Pokemon like this, and once we turn the Game Shark code off, they will just appear as normal on your team. But we actually nearly run out of Pokeballs. Actually, yeah, we do. We run out of Pokeballs. So, to make this a lot easier, whenever I do these challenges and to start off with certain teams, I'm just going to go and get Master Balls. So you can use a Game Shark code as well to get these into your party. And that'll just make sure that we always have the same Pokemon. We don't have to waste as much time at the beginning. So now we've got our Squirtle. We'll catch the full amount of our team. And we just need to get Pikachu now. And this is all you'll ever see from me on Game Shark codes. I only ever use them right at the beginning of the game, either to change what the starter Pokemon's going to be, or for a challenge like this where I want to catch a certain Pokemon right at the start, or use certain items right at the start, and that's about it. The rest of the game gets played as normal. So with our team of starters, we will go and challenge Brock. Now, there is absolutely no way we will be using Pikachu for this. It doesn't get any move apart from electric type moves and Growl up until level 15, which is after the level cap. But this is one of the reasons why we do have Squirtle with level 10 with Bubble, because it can sweep through Brock's team way before the level cap. We don't even need to use Charmander or Bulbasaur here. Squirtle in the early game is very, very good. We pick up the move Bide, and from here, we can progress onto the trainers next to Pure City. Now, we're going to have to alternate our team a lot throughout this run. There are going to be certain points where you're going to be using the fire type a lot more. There's going to be times where we might actually be using Pikachu a lot more. And this will show which start is better for which point in the game. So, right at the start, of course, you've got Squirtle, who's great for Brock, Charmander, who's great for any bug catchers, and strangely, I think, like in my solo runs, Charmander is probably going to shine the strongest in this entire run. And that's due to the fact of its moveset. We are going to allow TM movesets in this run. But majority, I'm going to try and focus on... Oh wow, Pikachu did awful. That does not bode well for the Pikachu solo run when that eventually comes around. I think Charmander might do the best. I think Bulbasaur will have its time to shine in the mid-game, and Squirtle will be quite consistent throughout the majority of the game in itself. And of course, we're starting to see problems with this team already in the fact that we can't evolve yet. Now, this is a bit of a weird fight against this youngster because the Ekans does know Rap, and we know Rap strats are cheesy as hell. Once we move into Mount Moon though, we don't really have too much of a problem. We do pick up Mega Punch for Charmander, and we're going to try and get some HP back against this Pokemon, but of course, we get taken down straight away. And Pikachu is really not helping out very much. We are doing a lot of training along the way. We are going against a lot of random Pokemon to try and get our levels up, which I'm going to have to keep an eye on because one of the rules set for this, I need to try and beat this game before level 50. If I can't, I will deem it as a failure challenge. But, as you can see here, we have picked up a random Pidgey just because we do want to utilise Fly later. I can use HM slaves, but in battle only, it's going to be this team of 4. So Charmander so far has been probably the good MVP up until Cerulean City, where there's going to be the obvious, it will not do well against Misty. So we're going to have to rely on the likes of Pikachu and Bulbasaur in the oncoming fights. We can pick up our Fossil, and we'll move on to Cerulean City. Now, even at the lower levels, I still think Misty's going to be very possible with just these two Pokemon. Like, we are going to focus purely on just using Pikachu and Bulbasaur. And this was pretty much the last-ditch effort I wanted to get some experience on Charmander just before we went against Misty. Because this Goldeen here, even though it takes us out, it doesn't have any Water-type moves. Its only attacking move is Peck, and it's got Supersonic to annoy you, which is what took us down. But with this, we will now use Pikachu against Misty. Now, this is like a classic Ash fight, this really, isn't it? Using Pikachu at all points. It gets taken down by the Starmie, bringing us into Bulbasaur, where we get a Leech Seed off so we can start recovering some HP. And because it's also paralysed from Thunder Wave, we can just chip it away until Leech Seed does its work and we get the fight. So far, all gym fights we have not lost on the first attempt. Will that change when it comes to Search? We will soon find out, but of course we have to go against the rival on Nugget Bridge. Now, I didn't talk about who the rival was today. Wacko is one of my close friends in real life and has probably been the rival the most on this channel as it was starting to grow. Now, we've got a few videos planned for later this month, towards the back end of the year. Just a few collab videos which are very different from my normal stuff that I do on here. But I wanted to try them out. I wanted to do some collab content with him because he has started to stream. And honestly, his streams are hilarious. Mostly so far it's been like FIFA, Fortnite and such. You know, your typical big games, AAA games. Which I don't really play too much with him. I played once on one of his streams. And it was funny, I will say that. But that was a while ago. I barely ever play on PlayStation anymore. Just due to time that I have available really right now. But hopefully in the new year, with the new job that I have picked up, I will be working from home remotely, which means I have a lot more free time just in general, and I'm not spending 2.5 hours a day travelling and nearly 12 hours out of the day out of the house. So, enough for the life update. You're here to watch a Pokemon video. Let's see how we do here. We've got to get the Dig TM because we want to pass that on to Charmander for a bit more type variation. And straight away I'm realising there's going to be a certain type of Pokemon that we are going to struggle against. And that'll become more and more prevalent as we continue through this video. So now we have completed Cerulean City, we have picked up Dig, we can move on to Vermilion City, where, to be fair, I'm not too sure this is going to be hard at all for us, really. The SSN is probably going to be the hardest place for us. Pikachu, with its bad defences, pretty much gets knocked over by a small wind. But as long as it's speedy enough to outspeed all of the Pokemon, we can get a good shot in before we actually do can it from Pikachu. And there's Pokemon such as the Raticate in this fight where you can see that low defenses really don't help. And that's one thing about these starter Pokemon. They do have first stage stats. Pikachu out of them has got the worst defense. Charmander's got the best attack. Bulbasaur just defensively so bulky, and Squirtle is a very mid-range sort of Pokemon. Now, we do need to utilise and rotate our team and fight, so we need to be smart about this. This isn't your typical mono-type run that I do on this channel, or a solo-type run. I'm very out of my depth here for the fact that I don't... See, ever since starting this channel, I don't really ever do full team videos anymore. Like, even when Pokemon Scarlet came out, and Pokemon Violet, I picked up Pokemon Violet, and I pretty much one-shotted the game with Skeleton, because I was so used to solo running because of this channel. Don't get me wrong, I picked up all the Pokemon and I pretty much did a Professor Oak's challenge in my own time. It was not something I was planning to record. And I might go back and do that when we eventually get to Pokemon Scarlet. I probably won't do a Professor Oak's challenge on this channel, just because it's not the thing that interests me the most. I find it tedious, I find it kind of boring. I'm not the one as well to go shiny hunting as well. That is not something I find enjoyable. I find that tedious and a waste of time in my personal opinion. But don't get me wrong, I still think shiny Pokemon are cool, but I would much rather enjoy that just naturally as it happens throughout a game. Like if I come across a shiny Pokemon, I will be absolutely over the moon, like it happened in one of my gold solo runs. And it was a shiny Swinub, which I actually failed to catch. I was not happy about that. I will, yeah, if I do find shiny Pokemon Gen 2 in future videos, then I will try and catch them just because everyone loves shinies. Let's see how we do against Surge, and Charmander is the best Pokemon here for this. It hits hard, it's got well, not a stab move, but it's got Dig to take out the majority of his Pokemon, and annoyingly, we do get taken down. So what do we do next? We move into Pikachu's got a resistance against Thunderbolt, and even though it does take a lot of damage, we've taught a Body Slam from the SSN, and Pikachu gets the win over Raichu, so we're actually reflecting the anime here, which I find hilarious. We pick up a great move in Thunderbolt, which means Pikachu just became even more useful, and we move on to the 4th badge. But before the 4th badge, of course, you can see here, we've got Rock Tunnel to contend with, and of course that means the Rapping Lass. Now I'm so glad we have Charmander for this, even though we don't get a good fire type move until Flamethrower later on. Yeah, Ember is still helping us out here. Ideally what I really should have been doing here though is using Dig. It's a much more powerful move, and all these Pokemon here are a grass poison type, meaning it would have been super effective. I didn't really, I've talked through the entire of the SSN there, but we picked up other types of moves that were on the SSN. So we picked up Body Slam, but we also picked up the TM for Rest. Because it's the only chance I think there is to get it. I don't know if you can buy it from the Celadon department store. But yeah, we did pick up all the TMs that we could, because we're going to need a lot more variation than I thought possible right at the start. Thankfully, we have Bulbasaur who can take over after the fainted Charmander. At level 20, well, all of our Pokemon are wanting to evolve already. And there's one thing I haven't found, is a Game Shark code that works like an Everstone. Pretty much, yeah, I have to mash B every time I'm doing a solo run or one of these runs, just to make sure none of the Pokemon actually do evolve. It's kind of annoying, but what else can I do? So in Rock Tunnel, that I would say I don't know what it is. I used to find these trainers easy, but now the Pokemaniacs with the Slowpokes and the Cubones are becoming a real challenge on a lot of these videos. The Exploring Hiker, who seems to be my premier trainer to go against in here and to showcase in Rock Tunnel, he becomes extremely easy with a team such as this. Bulbasaur one-shots his entire team. And we're not even quite close to that level cap right now. We pick up the Max Ether on the north of Lavender Tower, and we're going to give the rival a try at this level. So, moving into Lavender Tower, he's going to be starting off with a much stronger team than the SSN. This is probably one of the easiest rival fights in the entire game though, but either way, he still nearly takes our Pikachu out before we go down. We're going to switch into Squirtle for the Growlithe. It's not going to do too much against us because we have Bubble Beam. The 2 Bubble Beams will take down his Growlithe. We are taking a lot of damage though. Next up is the Execute, and we're going to try and chip it away before switching. And annoyingly we get put to sleep. This Execute is going to be annoying. That means we now need to switch again, and we're going to go straight into Charmander so Ember can deal big damage. But this Execute is a lot more tedious than I thought it would be. Kadabra is out next, and as long as we can get some strong physical moves in, we can take it down, bring us into the Water Turtle. Now I'm annoyed the Bulbasaur hasn't came out yet, but you know what? Charmander did pretty well to get halfway down. Now let's take out the Water Turtle with our Bulbasaur, and there we go, we have the win. As long as we can rotate our team, we actually do alright even at low levels with this team of starter Pokemon. We can move on to Celadon City, heal up, and now we can do a bit of shopping. So, in the Celadon department store, I think it's on floor 3, you can get one of the tellers who can give you a lot of different types of TMs. But we're not going to go straight there, we're going to go straight to the roof because we want Ice Beam and we want Rock Slide. And we'll pick up Tri Attack just because. And as long as you give all the drinks to this girl here, who is an incredibly thirsty girl, we can get 3 amazing moves to work with. Rock Slide will be definitely very helpful for a little bit of type variation, but Ice Beam is the main one that is best to pick up here. Because Ice in Gen 1 is a physical type move, not as an offensive move, sorry, not a physical type move. As an offensive move, Ice is just brilliant in Gen 1. Because especially considering you get this in the same town as the Grass Gym leader. So, moving into Erica's gym, we're going to take out a couple of the trainers because we are quite low leveled here. And I'm kind of scared for this because Victory Bell and Vileplume are very strong. So we might need to be a higher level to make this possible. We're going against another beauty here who has an Execute, so this is one of the reasons why I wanted Ice Beam. We can take it down pretty quickly though, and that brings us to Erica. Now, yeah, Charmander's our best bet here. It has Dig, it has Ember. That's all we've really got to work with. But annoyingly, we don't do too much with Ember, so we need to rely on Dig. But we get put into Wrap, and we do get taken down by the Poison. That brings us into Bulbasaur, who clutches up massively. So because we're a Poison type, we can't be poisoned. Because we're a Grass type, they won't use Grass type moves because of Gen 1 AI. So we pretty much sweep that Victory Bell by constantly tackling into it without the Victory Bell knowing what to do. We have a lot of PP to work with when it comes to tackle, and I was not imagining this fight would go this way. Look at little Bulbasaur, he's trying his best there, he's chipping away with tackle, and finally he takes down the Victory Bell. That was... I've not seen that before, like, even on the Bulbasaur run when I did it, I went with a different strat and I took ages on this gym. This was right at the start of my channel 2 years ago. Annoyingly, the Tangler became the biggest threat on this entire team. We got it poisoned, and we switched into Squirtle because Tangler has no Grass-type moves. And as soon as we can get out of Bind, we could use Ice Beam and take it down. But the Poison's pretty much going to do its work here, because Tangler is only a Grass... It's a Grass Mono-type. It's not Grass Poison, so Poison Powder was actually a great strategy to use here. Next up, we are going to switch back into Bulbasaur after Squirtle has been taken down. Well, let's see if we can get a bit of chip damage from Pikachu first. We get it paralyzed from Body Slam and then fall to Petal Dance. So from here, we just got to tackle our way to victory. I can't believe how long this fight took, but as soon as that Vileplume starts hitting itself, it would only try and start to use Poison Powder, which is great because we can't be poisoned as a poison type. In Gen 1, if you use a poison type move on a poison type Pokemon, it will not work. It's like the Poison Powder will not poison a poison type Pokemon. Like a burn will not burn a fire type Pokemon if you use it from a fire type move. And Bulbasaur clutched the hell up there to get us our win. The level cap now has exploded to level 43, nearly twice our current levels. So that gives us a few options of what we need to do next. But before we do that, we need to go and beat the Rocket Corner. Because from the Rocket Corner we can pick up the Silph Score, complete Lavender Tower, and from there the game truly opens up. And from, wow, level 23 we are going into this team, and we get taken down by a Zubat. Switch to Pikachu, and this is where Pikachu's starting to shine. Pikachu actually does very well against all the Rockets, because they carry a lot of Zubats and Golbats, so Thunderbolt and Thunderbolt will just take them down. Against Giovanni, Bulbasaur starts to shine even more. Celadon is just... This is Bulbasaur Town. I'm going to change Celadon to Bulbasaur Town because he just swept through everything here. You can see here against the Kangaskhan, it's poisoned, it's locked into rage, and Bulbasaur still clutches up with Mega Train to get the win. I am so impressed with this little guy. This brings us back to Lavender Tower, and of course we need to flush the Rockets out at the top. Now there are a couple of good items you can get here, and I will show you at which point you can get them. There's no hidden ones here, it's on the later floors. Now we do need to beat a couple of mandatory trainers. I have shown it on a few videos, like you can get 2 elixirs in here. One is visible on the ground, one is not on the next floor up. And that brings us to the Rockets, which at this point in the game are starting to lose their, I'm starting to lose my fear of them, really. We could learn Swift, but I don't know, I like Quick Attack if we ever need to outspeed something just for a little chip win. Quick Attack is a great attack just to have for that reason. Once we save Mr. Fuji, who was not very happy that not very thankful that we did, we can move on, and I'm going to go in gym order here. We're going to go against Koga, and we'll beat the Snorlax and head down to Fuchsia City. So, because I always do this, I never go and pick up the actual bicycle because it takes up more time. And that's now become the way that I go about this, because you can force your way through as long as you keep mashing B. You can get past those guards and get a free bike on the bike path for doing nothing. So there's no point of actually going to get the bicycle anymore. Before we even go against Koga, we are going to go and pick up HMO3, which is Surf, because our Squirtle really needs an upgrade in the quality of its water attacks. And Surf, hands down the best water type move in this generation. We can also pick up Strength, which we will teach one of our HM slaves. But Surf will be going on our Squirtle because it is such a good move. Let's see how we do against Koga. Now, considering we've got Dig on Charmander, we should be okay. But if any of his Pokemon get a big sludge off on us with the X attacks, then we might be in a bit of trouble. Pikachu takes down the first Coffin, and then the Muck starts, well, he poisons us and starts minimizing, which is not a good situation to be in. Big Sludge takes us down. Poison is a physical type move, and we don't have the greatest defenses. It then sweeps through Bulbasaur, and this is where I start to worry. So I'd set up one withdraw because they have got really good attack, and then we start surfing our way through the next couple of Pokemon. Now, if this Weezing, we can get frozen, or it can use self-destruct on us, we will win this fight. But then no. Sludge takes us down, and then we get Toxic, so I am going into Dig strats here, and then we get our first loss of this entire run against Koga. Yes, we are very underleveled, but wow, as if Koga was the first time we lost in this entire run so far. But we are getting into the mid game here, and our Pokemon don't have the greatest base stats to work with. It's alright in the early game, it's passable. But when you're getting into the late game, you will start seeing how much we struggle. So, biggest thing about this, our defenses aren't great, and Sludge can one-shot after an X attack. We are like nearly 10 levels below his team, but wow, this is... I don't want to lose a second time here. We're going to try for the freezes, and thankfully Muck complies, and we can get through without taking any damage there. Squirtle can take out the coffins pretty comfortably. The coffins aren't really too much of a problem, but what we're kind of hoping for is a freeze, so we can... you know what, that's even better. We had a Pokemon in the backup, so we actually can take this as a win. Not my fault it uses self-destruct, I can't control that, but we still had a Pokemon waiting to actually use, meaning we can take a win there. I don't think people like that I do that, but it is technically legal. Anyway, we move on to Silph Core, and there are a few moves we want to pick up here in the form of TMs. Now, I actually don't know if any of these four can actually learn Earthquake, but we will soon find out, because if we can learn Earthquake, that's a great move to use in a lot of major battles. Plus, we can also pick up a Carbos, a Rare Candy, and TM26, which is Earthquake. Now, let's see how we do against the rival. And this is going to be difficult. We have leveled up considerably to be able to match his team now. And at level 35, we actually do alright against the Pidgeot. It's got pretty terrible moves, and Pikachu is just a great answer for it. Next up is the Growlithe, and annoyingly it does take off a lot of damage, but we have had our agility set up, and as long as we can get a paralysis set on, which is annoying, because we start missing loads of body slams. That's not a great scenario to be in. Next up is Ember. Well, we're going to be using Ember from our Charmander, and you might notice there, we have picked up Swords Dance, which you can pick up in Silph Core. Now, Slash is not the greatest move to be using with it, but Slash is better against it and Execute than Dig is. But with that little bit of badge boost, we can slash our way through. Oh, yes, we can. No, we haven't taken out the Alakazam. No, it takes down our Charmander. This is not a great scenario to be in. Squirtle, the ever-reliable, will come in and get the win with a bite. And from here, we want to try and get the freeze. We get it on the first hit, meaning this fight is completely ours. We get a first-time win against Rival 5. With only our star Pokemon team. That is a great way to end this fight. And Squirtle, again, really clutched up. It's just like I was saying. Charmander, really good in a lot of different fights. But Squirtle has been the most consistent. Once we've healed up at the nurse here, we can go and take on the Rocket Boss Giovanni. And we don't even need to pick up our Lapras because we have Squirtle to ferry us across the water. This trainer outside of here, he's got a few Pokemon, but considering our team, not a problem whatsoever. We've got Razor Leaf on Bulbasaur, which is a fantastic move to have. We've got Toxic, we've got Leech Seed, we've got Mega Drain. Like, this Bulbasaur is stacked. Not against Psychic types, though. So, before it goes down, we do Toxic out the Drowsy, and then we switch into our ever-reliable Squirtle. I have got a new respect for Squirtle, and I understand why a lot of people use it for speedruns. It's just reliable, wow. Like, the water type in Gen 1 is just so good. Like, unbelievably good. Out of all my monotypes and my solo runs so far, I'm deeming the best two types in Gen 1 so far have been the water type and the psychic type. And that's if you're doing like a normal playthrough. Even on a monotype run, I would say water is easily the best type. Anyway, let's see how we do against Giovanni, and we sweep through pretty much with just Squirtle alone. We get the fight. Well, Nidoqueen takes down Squirtle, so that means we can move into Charmander, take it down with a dig, and there we go. That is Silph Core completed, and we can now go against the next gym leader. Which, if you will follow the route through this, will be Sabrina. This is the quickest route to get to her that I have found without going against any trainers. And here we go. I'm not bothered about you seeing the time right now because I'm not measuring the success of this run by what time we actually finish on. I'm actually measuring it just by can we actually complete the bloody thing. Strangely, in this Sabrina fight, Pikachu proper clutches up here. Takes down the Kadabra because it can outspeed. And Body Slam on Pikachu is a great move. Like, wow. We've taken down 3 Pokemon with just Pikachu alone. Before the Alakazam comes out, hits us with a big Psywave of all things. Must have been a high roll on Psywave. and we're forced to switch into Squirtle. We get another freeze. Wow, look at that. 2 fights, 2 freezes. Right when we needed it. Well done, Squirtle. Proper clutched up there, buddy. That's 6 gym badges. Now, there is nothing left to do in Main Kanto. We can now fly over to Pallet Town and take a swift swim down to Cinnabar Island. And we are still very underleveled for this next gym leader fight. But we've got a great Pokemon in Squirtle here, which could one-shot him completely. But before we can even do that, we need to go and pick up the secret key. Now, I'm going to show you how you can get through. If you follow the route that I'm doing here right now, you can get through Pokemon Mansion extremely quickly, picking up some fantastic TMs, and you will not have to fight one single trainer battle. This is, yeah. You can pick up a rare candy, you can pick up a secret key. I'm not going to pick up Solar Beam, because I'm not too sure I'm actually going to need it. With us being quite slow in base stage Pokemon, I'm not too sure we'll actually be able to get a Solar Beam off unless we manage to get a freeze. Once we complete Pokemon Mansion, found the secret key, let's see how we do against Blaine here. Now we are going to go straight into Squirtle, and this Growlithe has got nothing for us, so we are going to set up all of our withdraws for any physical type attacks coming in, and of course we're going to Badge Boost glitch a tiny little bit with this. Once we've done that, we can take barely any damage, and Surf will do tons back. We're also a lot faster because of the Badge Boost glitch. As long as we don't level up, we should be fine, which of course we do. Which means we've still got the defensive stats, but our other stats have gone back to normal. But it's not too much of a problem because Squirtle just completely one-shots. Well, one-shots. He sweeps the entirety of Blaine's gym. And that might be prevalent for the next gym as well, because as we know, the last gym in Kanto is the ground-type gym ran by Giovanni. So, once we have got all 7 badges, we have healed up, we will move on to completing the gym challenge. And the old guy gets in our way. And sometimes the biggest challenge about this gym is that ledge just outside of out of the gym. We have to go against 2 mandatory trainers if you want to try and minimum battles this gym. You have to go against this guy here, and then this Karate King here. He's not the Karate King. The Karate King's over in Saffron, or in Johto Falls when you get to Gen 2. Either way, they are not a problem whatsoever. Squirtle can easily sweep through all of them with Surf and Bite. I didn't think I'd be having Bite this late on to the game, but Skull Bash, with it being a 2-turn move, there's not really any point of using it. I don't like 2-turn moves all too much, unless it's Fly or Dig, because you can get out the way of other moves. Either way, let's see how we do against Giovanni. We're going to go straight in with Bulbasaur because I've not given him much love in the last few fights. Giovanni is not going to do well against Bulbasaur. His biggest threat was the Doug Trio, who went down to 1 Razor Leaf. Now, when it comes to the Nidoqueen and the Nidoking, they do resist Grass-type moves, which isn't the greatest thing for us, but this is where Leech Seed becomes such a great move. We can continually get our HP back, we can chip them away, and from here, they can't do much against a Bulbasaur. And this Bulbasaur is 10 levels below his ace, but so far it is sweeping his entire team. We get a crit on the Razor Leaf there, he goes for a guard spec, and we've got through to the Rhydon, only just now learning... We've only now just learned Sleep Powder. And out of all the moves to get rid of, I actually deemed Razor Leaf the most expendable move, because getting our HP back is so crucial, especially with this team. But having Sleep is just going to help us out so much. We take the first time win, and so far, we've only lost against Koga. We've only lost once in this entire run, and it was to Koga. That is crazy. That's crazy to think about. Anyway, let's think about the next rival fight just before the Elite Four. And, of course, he's going to be starting off with his Pidgeot. So we're going to switch into Pikachu, and we will try and set up a little bit of agility before that happens. We're level 40 going into this fight, because I know we now need to make sure we don't overlevel going into the Pokemon lead. Because the level cap for the Pokemon lead is going to be level 50. I know it says up there level cap being level 56. That's the level cap for if you were going against this particular trainer. Or, well, the next one would be Lorelei, the next major trainer. But for the purposes of this video, Level cap is still level 50. We switch into our Squirtle, who just starts taking more and more names, but gets taken down by the Alakazam. Now this is going to hurt. We need to get our Sword Stand set up so we can actually do a little bit of damage, but no. Alakazam sweeps through, and this is not looking good. Pikachu can't do much damage, it gets one shot, and Bulbasaur is on its own. Now unless we can tank, which we can't, our second loss of the run. That's really annoying. We were doing so well, but this is the late game, and this is where it becomes difficult. Now, yeah, looking at this and how bad we're doing against this rival, we only have 10 levels to work with before we go against the champion fight. And I'm not confident right now we can do this. And I really don't want to start off these challenge videos with a failure, but it might have to be. If we can get a freeze on this Alakazam, we can win. And that's all we need. We just need one freeze. Come on, Squirtle, please get us the freeze. No, we can't get it. How are we going to do this? Can we get a paralysis? We get the paralysis. Okay, that's fine. And we can start chipping away at it. He's already used like a super potion, so I don't know whether we can do it. Slash gets us the win there. And finally the Blastoise comes out. Now, yeah, as long as we can avoid a Hydro Pump, we can do a little bit of chip damage, but that's not going to help out here. Thankfully, we have Bulbasaur in the back who can tank a bite with 7 HP. And finally get it to sleep before we can Mega Drain and get back all of our HP. That was clutch from Bulbasaur. I never thought Bulbasaur to be our late game Pokemon, but wow. Proper clutched up there, and we beat the rival here at level 40 to 41. Now there are a few trainers that we can go against in Victory Road, and I'm showing you this fight right now because pretty much this was the trainer that inspired this run. He uses exclusively starter type Pokemon, but in their evolution forms. I remember fighting him on a previous video, and I just thought, okay, there's a challenge in itself. Can just the starters complete this game? And as you can see, we're getting pretty damn far, but we still have the league to contend with. The Charizard here, I really wish I could use the Charizard, but no, this is the starter challenge only. There's a few trainers that are very good to go against, but there's the Chansey trainer, which gets you quite a lot of experience. But we're going to skip through and go straight to the Elite Four. Now, which Pokemon is the best to start off with here? Well, it's going to be Bulbasaur, because this Dugong knows Rest, and because of the way the AI works, it's got a good chance of using Rest. Now, it didn't really work out in our favour there, because Bulbasaur gets taken down, and I would have loved to have had sleep-inducing moves. The Dugong is just sweeping through all of our Pokemon, and then finally decides to use Rest. And we're not dealing anywhere near as much damage out that really helps us out here. So we're going to Badge Boost Glitch. We are going to set up our withdraws, and hopefully Squirtle can do a bit more to work with here. It does get our attack down, but that's actually not what I'm focusing on. We're going to go for Surfs, but it's not going to really work here. So I might have to reset here because we can't freeze a Dugong with Ice Beam. It's an Ice type Pokemon itself, and Surf just isn't dealing out enough damage to make this viable. She goes for a Super Potion this time around, and instead of going for Rest, we actually managed to take down the Dugong. I was thinking we might not actually have a chance to get through this. We're going to teach Hydro Pump because it is a very powerful Water-type move, but we're not doing too much against the Cloyster, and this is looking bad. Unless we can get good luck here, we are not going to win with just Charmander. Fire Blast can't do too much. We do get the burn. I'm going to go into using Sword Stance once, hopefully, but we get hit by Clamp and take our third loss of the run. This is difficult. This is difficult. I've decided, you know, with the experience that's available, we can go up a few more levels to actually make this possible. So I put my entire team up to level 45 here. We needed to get Leech Seed off on the Dugong. We needed to keep it asleep. And thankfully, it just decides to go for Rest this time round, meaning we can get our Mega Drains in, we can chip away it when it comes to Leech Seed, and we've also taught Thunder to Pikachu. A much more powerful move than Thunder Shock was, and I don't know why I didn't go and pick it up beforehand. We flew over to the power plant to go and pick it up, and from here, Pikachu shines. Level 45. It sweeps through the majority of this team on its own. And this proves why Ash used it, Pikachu. Even against the Jinx, it manages to get it down to very low HP before falling. That brings us into Charmander, who can finish it off with a Fire Blast. Lapras is out next, and as long as I can do a little bit of chip damage, I'm happy with Charmander for this. That brings us back into Bulbasaur, where if we can get it to sleep, that'd be perfect, but a big blizzard takes it down. It is now all on Squirtle here. Now, if we can get it frozen, that'd be perfect, but we can't, and we take another loss. We really need to keep Bulbasaur alive, or Pikachu alive, until that last fight. But I'm not going higher than level 45 here. Once we can set up the strategies we need, Pikachu will sweep as much as it can. And it might be that we need to just badge boost it a little bit, and then thunder our way through. We get Dugong fully paralysed, and then we can move into Cloyster. Now, if I didn't allow badge boost glitch on this run, I personally don't think this would have been possible, this challenge. Badge boost glitch is just about making this fight possible, and we've got much tougher fights coming up. When we get into the Jinx, we're going to switch into Squirtle, and we're going to set up 1 or 2 withdraws before... Well, we're going to set up 3 of them before the Jinx hits itself in confusion twice, and we can get through to the Lapras. Now, there's not much that Squirtle can do here, apart from do a little bit of chip damage, but we've got a full team to work with here, and as long as Pikachu can outspeed, we get a big thunder in. Charmander is out next. Can it do a bit more chip damage? It does with Slash. And last up is Bulbasaur, who will try and get it to sleep. We hit the sleep, and that's it. We win this fight. Full team effort there from the boys. But wow, that was a tough fight. We lost twice to Lorelei. And our loss total is 4 fights this entire run. Next up is Bruno, who... Come on, it's Bruno, guys. Bruno's a joke. As long as we can get his Pokemon to sleep, Bulbasaur can sweep through this fight on its own. But I want to showcase more Pokemon, so we are going to switch into Charmander. If we can get our Swords Dance set up before it wakes up. If we have... Yeah, we got full Swords Dance set up. Dig will just now sweep through the entire fight. Slash can just chip away at some of them when needed. Reason why I don't like using Swords Dance and Slash... Oh, wow, we got taken out by Hitmonlee. Yeah, reason why I don't like using Swords Dance and then Slash is because you're essentially badge boost glitching, and Slash will do less damage when it crits. We bring back in Bulbasaur, who is hands down just so good in this fight. We Leech Seed, we Mega Drain, we get him back to sleep. Submission does take down Bulbasaur, and that is leaving it all on Pikachu. Can Pikachu beat him? I do not want a loss to Bruno. Thank God he did not go for an attacking move, because our defenses are shocking on Pikachu. But we get a first time win against Bruno, and that brings us through to Agatha. Now, we don't have any Psychic type moves, and that would really help us out here. But what we do have is a Charmander who likes to dig in the dirt. The majority of her team are weak to ground type moves. And that's all we really need. We just need to get a couple of digs in and hope that she doesn't use any powerful moves. The Golbat is hands down the one I'm most afraid of, so we are going to switch back into Bulbasaur and get it to sleep. Because if we can get it to sleep, we can set up with one of our other Pokemon and then go for the sweep. Bulbasaur goes down. We're going to go into Squirtle and see if we can get a freeze now. We managed to get the freeze, meaning Charmander is fully free to set up. As long as she doesn't switch out her team, full Swords Dance will get set up, and we'll keep our Dig PP for the rest of them, because we can't hit Golbat with Dig. That means we also now outspeed and can one-shot with Dig throughout our entire team. This worked out so perfectly because Agatha is such a random fight. She uses all of her moves randomly, and she's got some really annoying moves such as Confuse Ray and Hypnosis. We get a first time win against Agatha, and that brings us through to Lance. And I'm scared. Not for Gyarados, because Pikachu is 4 times super effective against Gyarados, so we get a quick first win. It's the Aerodactyl that I'm scared for. Now, we don't have to worry about his Dragonair and his Dragonite because we have Bulbasaur, who is a poison type, and they have psychic type moves. His AI determines that he will literally only ever use psychic type moves against a poison type. So that means Bulbasaur is the safest one to get Pokemon to sleep and set up on. You can use Leech Seed and just chip away. And once we've set up Charmander, Charmander with Sword Stance is fantastic. We actually managed to tank a Hyper Beam there. That's incredible. But Charmander does fall, bringing us into Squirtle, and we need to keep Squirtle alive because, wow, oh no, this is looking bad. Can Pikachu clutch up here? Bite. It does clutch up with 2 Thunders, wow. That brings us into Dragonite, who will, of course, fall to Bulbasaur, but we're going to get as much damage from Pikachu done before we switch into him. We'll get it to sleep, we will Leech Seed, and from there, also use Toxic to great effect. He will not use any move but a Psychic type against us, and we get the win. First time against Lance. We are level 46 to 47 with this team, and there's only 1 fight left. Can we do this before level 50? Let's see how we do. Wacko, the champion, starts with his Pidgeot, and we are 16 levels below his leading Pokemon. 16 levels. We don't outspeed. Oh, wow. I don't know if this is possible. We're one shot by pretty much any hit. We are at the complete mercy of what moves they actually use. Dig will not do big damage. And I'm really going to have to pull something out my arse here to think of a great strategy to do this. And a lot of luck. I think we need a lot of RNG to make this possible. So, we take a loss against the champion. How are we going to do this here? Well, watch and learn. We're going to start with Bulbasaur, who can tank a wing attack. From there, we switch into Pikachu, who will set up as many agilities as possible. We Badge Boost glitch here, and then Thunderbolt should be a 1 or 2 shot win. That brings in the Alakazam, who we need to outspeed and paralyze. Because if we can paralyze it, we can at least tank 1 hit from Psybeam. And that brings us into Rhydon. Now we do need to switch here, and Squirtle is the best Pokemon to switch into here. If it doesn't take it out in 1, we are hoping... Yes, that's perfect, that's fine. Because we need to beat the Rhydon, then go straight into the Arcanine, who goes down to a Surf. And from here, I misclicked on Hydro Pump. We need to be using Blizzard here for the freeze if we can. But Squirtle clutches up and gets 2 Blizzards in. Now, if we can get a freeze on this Blastoise with the remaining Blizzards, we win this fight. Because all this Blastoise will do is bite and Skull Bash. But Squirtle clutches up, and a level 48 Squirtle beats Blastoise at level 65. This is how we beat it without going over level 50 with just starter Pokemon. This was an incredibly difficult run, but I'm so happy with the outcome of it, and I hope you've enjoyed it as something different for my channel. Now, our team are going to go into the Hall of Fame and be crowned forever in the Pokemon Hall of Fame. Bulbasaur level 48. Squirtle at level 49, we were really just on the cusp of level 50, Charmander at level 48, and Pikachu at level 48 as well. It is possible to beat the game using just base form starter Pokemon in Pokemon Blue. We did it! We actually did the challenge. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please smash that like and subscribe, you legends, and we'll see you tomorrow for another challenge run. It's going to be random. Take care.